Speaking of Canada and the respect that it gets or doesn't get, let's talk about the giants of CONCACAF, or gigantes de CONCACAF, as we like to say on this show, a conversation we frequently have on this show. We want to know if Sunday's final will decide who is truly in charge of CONCACAF. But before you hear from us, let's hear what Greg Berhalter had to say about it earlier today.
It's not even worth getting into that. What I'd say is we're a team that's developed, we're a team that's improved, and we're a team that wants to keep going. And for us, it's how do we continue to win in our region, and how do we beat world soccer powers in knockout games? And we're going to be tested with that. There's Copa America coming up, and obviously the World Cup, and we're going to have to learn how to beat big opponents in knockout games. That's the next step for this group.
All right, Herc, will the new giant of CONCACAF be decided on Sunday's final?
Absolutely. Yes. If the U.S. men's national team beats Canada, they're the giant of CONCACAF. Listen, I've said many times that I enjoyed the way the Canadian team played through World Cup qualifying. They dominated World Cup qualifying. A very good team, the only team to take points off home and away, both Mexico and the United States national team in a World Cup qualifying campaign. And I know people bring up the World Cup, but that World Cup group was ridiculous. I mean, two semifinalists in Croatia and Morocco, and the #2 ranked team in the world, the Golden Generation of Belgium. It is what it is there. But this Canadian national team, to me, is the real deal. But it's very hard not to call the U.S. men's national team the giant of CONCACAF if you're going on 6 undefeated versus Mexico, and you've won every title that's been out there for you to win. Yeah. Realistic title, continental title, throughout your process. If they do it again, there's no two ways about it. They would be the giant of CONCACAF at the moment.
What's interesting is how quickly we've discarded Mexico from this conversation. There is no longer a thought that Mexico is kind of involved at all. It truly does feel like U.S. and Canada are now kind of playing for the top spot. I agree with you that if the U.S. wins, they're pretty clear the new giants of CONCACAF. Yeah. The one thing I would say if Canada wins is that there's not that history. And I know we try to focus on the current moment and not go too far back, but giant does tend to make you think like you've been in charge for a while. Like there's it's not just a momentary
If that's the case, then there's no discussion, and it's Mexico, because we're going to go back to 1930s.
Okay, let's say recent history, though. I mean, Canada has really, truly just arrived. Can we truly put them at the top of the mountain already?
When's the last time the U.S. has beat them twice in the last 5 games? One of those times was a friendly. The other time was in the Gold Cup with the B team. Yeah, so with Canada B team. So yeah, it's a good shout, but it's very hard to discount the recent history. Yeah, I mean, you're talking about 2 to 3 years worth of them playing well. And remember where they were in World Cup qualifying? They had to qualify for that octagonal. You know, they actually did a whole World Cup qualifying campaign. So to see the growth of this Canadian national team is impressive.
I guess when we use the word giant, it makes you think that this country is miles ahead of everybody else, and I just don't think we have that in CONCACAF.
No, it's the Smurfs. It's the Smurfs arguing about who's the tallest.
Right.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.